If you're reading the news and watching the headlines, there's a lot of talk recently about foreclosures being on the rise and how we're seeing a lot more of them across the country. But what does that really mean to you? We're going to talk about the three things that you got to know about foreclosures nationally and then how it applies here in Hawaii in this video. So let's jump right into it. Again, you're seeing the headlines that look like this. They're very scary. Foreclosures jumped by 26% in the first quarter, with surprising Midwestern state leading the nation. And so if you're looking into this, it's always important to look at data in terms of context. And the first thing that you got to know is if you look at data in terms of a longer period of time, this is the number of foreclosure filings that happened in the first 6 months of each one of these years, going all the way back to 2008. And if you look at 2008, there was 1.3 million foreclosures just in the first half of that year. And of course, that hit a very, very low point in 2021 because of the moratorium that COVID caused, where people could not get foreclosed on. And there was 65,000 filings in that year, the first 6 months of that year. And if you look at, they've been on the rise ever since. They went up to 164,000 in 22, and then all the way up to 227,000 filings in the first half of 2026, which can seem scary. And yes, are they increases year over year? Absolutely. But if you look back historically, even if you just look at the year before COVID, right, in 2019, there was 296,000. So we're still below those years where it was very normal. And that was kind of the historical average, was around 300,000 a year. So we are below historical averages. And over time, it's definitely not as scary as it seems if you're just looking at a month over month or a quarter over quarter data point, which is what these national headlines do. And so what does that mean for Hawaii? So this is super, super important, is that if you look at the national average, there's about 1 in every 3,500 homes gets foreclosed on. That's a ratio that they use to measure the number of foreclosures. And in Hawaii, it's 1 in 8,200. So we are 40th in the nation. It's very, very safe in Hawaii. There's way less, right? I mean, like 25% of the amount of foreclosures that are happening in the country are, Hawaii's number is only about a quarter of what we're seeing across the country. So in Hawaii, the number is much lower, and I'll tell you why that is in a second. And that's because in Hawaii, in most cases, people have been locked in with low interest rates, so they haven't refinanced or over leveraged their properties. And really, if you bought any time in the last 5 years, you have equity in your property. And so there's really no need to get foreclosed on, because you can always sell it. And even if you get behind on your mortgage or you get distressed, you can always sell it and then recoup the funds you need to pay off your mortgage, and then usually keep some funds afterwards. So that's why Hawaii's insulated from this, and we're not seeing as much of a problem as we're seeing in other states. But definitely Hawaii's foreclosure numbers are lower than other states. And this is what it looks like if you look at it from a kind of a heat map graph here, is that Florida is the highest risk. 1 in 1,200 homes have a foreclosure filing on them right now. Like I said earlier, the national average is 1 in 3,500 homes, and in Hawaii, it's 1 in 8,200 homes. So we are very, very low risk in Hawaii for foreclosures. So if you're waiting for some big thing to happen, or it's, you're waiting for this rush of foreclosures to have opportunities, it's definitely not going to happen anytime soon, and the data backs that up. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, make sure to click the like button and the subscribe button. And if you're looking to move to Hawaii and want expert real estate advice, you can click the QR code above for a relocation guide on every single island, or the link in the description to book a meeting with me and my expert team. So another data point, so the third thing I want you to think about when we're talking about foreclosures is look at them in the context of filings versus completions. And this is super, super important, because the news normally reports on the filing number, right? How many people are getting foreclosures filed on their property. They rarely talk about the completion rate. And this is very, very important. So if you look at the first half of 2026, there was 164,000 filings. There was only 27,000 completed foreclosures. And so that's about a 17% ratio. So only about 17% of homes that are foreclosed on actually get foreclosed on, right? They have the foreclosure filing, people get behind on their mortgage, bank files paperwork with the courts, and that's the number that is normally reported. So if you look at that, very, very few, right? Less than 1 in 5 homes that get a foreclosure filing actually get completed. And again, that's normally due to the same things I just talked about in Hawaii, right? There's a lot of equity right now. still in the market, so people don't have the need to get foreclosed on, and they have the ability to sell if they need to. So that's very, very important. So really that 1 in 3,500 number is only about 1 in 632 in terms of homes that actually get foreclosed on. And if we look deeper into the Hawaii data, so specifically in Hawaii, there was about 350 filings for the first half of 2026. There was only 25 completed foreclosures. So the completion ratio is only 7%. So it's even lower than it is kind of on the nationwide average. And that's 1 in 2,200 homes actually get foreclosed on. So very, very, very few homes that are getting a foreclosure filing are actually getting finished here in the state of Hawaii. So just very, very good context in terms of understanding what the risks actually are, because the risks are very, very low here in Hawaii for foreclosure. And we just have very, very few. I mean, if you look at, 350 filings for the entire state, I mean, that is very, very few per month, right? Like 50 per month. It's a very low number. So you don't have anything to worry about. There is no huge foreclosure wave coming. We've heard that talked about year over year over year, and it still hasn't happened. And the data continues to back up that the market is very stable and that there isn't a foreclosure crisis happening. This isn't anything like 2008, 2009. It's a very different market. And the main thing that's helping people out is that they do have equity in their homes, and so they can get out if they need to. So if you have any questions about this or anything Hawaii real estate related, we have the #1 team in the entire state of Hawaii for real estate. We help more families than anyone else does. About 1,000 families a year are helped by our team. We can help you specifically with whatever data you need, or if you have specific questions about a location around the state, we can help you on any island. Just reach out. My email address is dylan@buybigisland.com, or you can book a meeting directly with us in the link below in the description, and we'll meet with you, answer all of your questions, and get you on your way. So as always, really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.